Rachel Zegler has found herself once again in the crosshairs, but this time, it's Family Guy. Got a banger from Eric's. Let's get straight into it.
Disney dropped nearly $250 million trying to rebrand Snow White.
It's a lot of money.
And in return, Family Guy turned the entire project into a joke.
Oh, you said we were going to a place Walt Disney built.
No, Peter, I said supported.
Not just
Oh my God, they were at Auschwitz. That is brutal.
the movie, the company, the casting, the entire era of Disney's woke reboots, and the wildest part, they didn't even have to mention Rachel Zegler by name. The message was loud, brutal, and clear. This wasn't just a cheap gag, it was a full-on attack. And it hit hard because audiences are already exhausted by forced reinventions, exhausted by moral lectures disguised as movies. And right now, Rachel Zegler is becoming the face of all of it. In one
Bro, she really is speed running, ruining her own career.
scene, Peter Griffin walks through Disneyland looking confused, but the real punchline is behind him. A roller coaster dives in the background with the label Disney stock slapped on it. That's not subtle. That's Family Guy saying Disney's empire is crashing and their obsession with woke branding is to blame.
Little Mermaid. Oh my God.
Then it gets worse. Peter watches TV and sees a character. Wow, that girl is hot, he says.
Oh, that girl's hot.
That's a guy.
That other guy's handsome.
That's a girl.
That cat is cute.
That's a dog.
What is everything?
The line, "What is everything?" has become its own kind of meme. It speaks to how a lot of viewers feel. Everything is being changed, renamed, redefined, and the audience is expected to keep up without question. Family Guy took that feeling and turned it into a punchline with precision. They didn't hold back because they didn't have to. That's the luxury of a show that's always been offensive. But for Disney, this was more than a
It seems like that's the big advantage to being offensive, is that people expect you to be offensive, so when you are, it's like not a big deal. Like South Park at this point, if they came out with something that was nice, you'd be like, what's wrong with those guys?
roast. It was a wake-up call. And just when you think that's the end of it, here comes the next twist. Family Guy wasn't the first animated show to go after Disney. In fact, South Park beat them to it, and they didn't just clown on Snow White. They tore down the entire machine behind it. Kathleen Kennedy, Disney's boardroom decisions, the recycled casting formulas, the put a chick in it and make her gay playbook, all of it.
Oh my God.
And Rachel Zegler, she was already in the crosshairs. Because if Family Guy fired shots...
Bro, if insufferable was a word in the dictionary that could have a face attached to it, it would be Rachel Zegler.
South Park dropped a nuke. And we're about to get into that next. South Park didn't just roast Disney, they reverse engineered the formula and mocked it line by line, frame by frame. In the Joining the Panderverse special, they
I got a full episode on this if you want to go check it out.
introduced a version of Kathleen Kennedy. Yes, the actual Disney exec behind most of the company's
My
recent
God.
reboots, and gave her a mystical object called the Panderstone. Her job, to insert diverse women into every franchise, whether it made sense or not. The episode plays like a fever dream. Cartman is tormented by a multiverse where every classic character has been replaced with a self-righteous, miserable version of a corporate-approved identity. And while the whole thing is satire,
God, she's covering stuff I didn't even see in the last one I reacted to.
the message hit way too close to home for Disney to laugh it off.
Tell me exactly what it is you're afraid of.
I keep having the same dream. Everywhere I look, people are being replaced.
Okay, and who do you think is going to have you replaced?
Them, the puppet masters. The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway,
My God.
and then I see Butters, and he's like, "Hey, Eric, you want to see what my mom packed me for lunch?" And that's when I start to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced.
And then comes the line that went viral. South Park's version of
But
Kathleen
does anybody know where you can watch the Panderverse? I have HBO Max and it has South Park, but I don't think they had the vaccination special, but I don't know if they had the Panderverse.
Kennedy steps forward, throws her hands in the air, and declares, "Put a chick in it and make her gay." That single sentence practically became a slogan for how people feel about Disney's recent output. Forced, formulaic, and hollow.
Is there a problem, people?
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
But the roast didn't stop at animation. George Lucas himself, yes, the man who created Star Wars, was caught in a viral clip directly criticizing Kathleen
Whoa. Lord have mercy. She looks like the cucumber from VeggieTales.
Kennedy to her face. In the middle of a panel, George clowned the creative direction of Disney post-acquisition. The crowd laughed, but it was one of those laughs that feels a little too real.
I will say George Lucas has got a generational hairline. That thing is going nowhere.
Some of us think we're really great people, but in the real world we're not. We're terrible people. You run your life in a very selfish way. Shots fired! And you think you're doing good when you're actually not. And at the same time, it's you know, how do democracies turn back into dictatorships?
Good Lord, get this man a spatula. He's cooking.
It's happened through history forever and ever.
That's how
God,
far
talking to Mickey Mouse and her.
this has spiraled. The studio responsible for some of the most iconic stories in cinematic history is now being dragged by animation studios, conservative commentators, YouTube essayists, and even its own original creators. And in the middle of that chaos, Rachel Zegler. Because while Snow White still hasn't recovered from the backlash, Disney's already eyeing its next billion-dollar swing, a live-action remake of Tangled.
I mean, if they put Jake Gyllenhaal in it, it might be good.
And reportedly, Rachel Zegler is attached to the project.
Ooh, I bet that doesn't last.
Which, let's just say, is not going over well online. Tangled is set to become the most expensive Disney remake ever. We're talking over $500 million all in with marketing. But after losing nearly $200 million on Snow White, there's panic setting in behind the scenes. Even Disney fans are asking why.
Bro, there's no way they're going to include her, bro. It would be a monumental loss if they included Rachel Zegler in Tangled.
Why would they risk this much again? Especially with someone the internet already has pitchforks out for.
Rachel Zegler is not having her year where her Snow White movie is going to lose $200 million for Disney, but doing so, she also screwed over Tangled in the process. When Rachel Zegler was cast as Snow White, she joined one of Disney's biggest franchises, which was Disney Princess, where they've done $45 billion in merchandise sales just in the last 25 years.
So much money,
With the goal
bro.
of trying to keep that brand fresh, they've tried to do live-action reboots of the Princess movies, and they have had success so far, with Cinderella making over $500 million on a budget of $90 million, and then Beauty and the Beast making $1.3 billion. But the last two attempts for Disney just haven't worked, where Halle Bailey's Little Mermaid lost $25 million for Disney, and
I didn't know Halle Bailey lost 25 mil. Dadgum.
Rachel Zegler's Snow White is way worse and it could lose up to $200 million. Now, because of those two failures, Disney's pausing their other attempts at making live-action reboots, including the live-action Tangled movie. Which Tangled was actually the most expensive animated movie of all time, costing $260 million, and it only made $592 million, which actually means it lost money factoring marketing and ticket splits. Still, Disney saw potential in Tangled having more success as a live-action movie, but now due to the failure of the Rachel Zegler films, they're no longer going to be pursuing that or other projects. So hey, she failed so bad, she did something good getting rid of the reboots and without trouble.
The blowback is so
my
strong
gosh,
that
she failed so bad they stopped the reboots with her. Good Lord.
the Tangled backlash is happening before filming even starts. And it's not because Rachel Zegler is untalented, it's because audiences feel like they're being sold.
You're a liar!
I've seen some of her scenes, bro. She's not really a good actress.
A brand, not a story. And when you throw $500 million behind that brand, the expectation isn't just for a good movie, it's for something bulletproof, something people want to root for. Right now, that's not where this energy is heading. And speaking of bad energy, that takes us straight to the moment when Rachel walked into an empty theater, posted a TikTok, and accidentally reminded everyone just how badly Snow White actually bombed. Rachel Zegler walking into an empty movie theater wouldn't normally be news.
But can you imagine working on something for as long as she probably did with this Snow White thing? Grinding it out, doing 10, 15-hour days. Everybody behind the scenes being like, yes, you're amazing, queen. This is going to be incredible. And you go in the theater and it's just crickets. Bro, if that doesn't humble you, I don't know what. And here's my thing. The universe sometimes hands you things that you need. She needed this humbling. And so what she should do is plate this humble pie and eat it. She should have a mukbang of this humble pie. But instead she's rejecting it, which is not what the universe is trying to serve you. Sometimes the universe gives you things and sometimes you just need to listen to it. You know what I mean? Ain't that right, Loki? Oh, I've fallen at work and been injured. Oh, wait. I should call my lawyer.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan.
Hey, John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. It's Levi Nichs of YouTube. Can I get some cash, please?
Morgan and 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 Morgan.
Did you know that your injury could be worth millions of dollars? Morgan & Morgan is the largest injury law firm in America, and they've recovered over $20 billion for their clients. $20 billion? That's a lot of cash. The insurance companies tried to lowball me, but Morgan & Morgan was able to take my pain and suffering and turn it into cold, hard cash. It's almost a good thing I was injured. But wait. How much is Morgan & Morgan gonna cost me? You never owe them legal fees unless they're successful. So it's completely free unless you win? Yeah. Hiring a lawyer, that sounds like really difficult. It's actually super easy. You can just go to their website, and in a couple clicks, you can find out if you have a case. And you can literally do it from your smartphone. And remember, there is only one Morgan & Morgan. Wait, but it's two names though. How is it? Give me the script. Oh, both their last names. Okay, I get it. Okay, roll it. You can start your claim today by going to forthepeople.com/Levi, found in the description below. So if you're injured, you can trust Morgan & Morgan. Y'all know what time it is. Can we get some freeze in the chat? Free. Got the camera a little bit closer today so you guys could get that HD Loki. That high definition. But yeah, man, sometimes like you gotta realize the universe is gonna serve something up to you, bro. And sometimes you just need to go through it. You need to battle through it. Like maybe it's a hardship. Maybe it's, you know, an obstacle. Maybe it's a success. Maybe it's something that went really well and they want you to deal with it. Or maybe it's, yeah, it's something that's a difficult that they're saying, hey, and you could give it to God. You could give it to a religious, you know, purpose or a hierarchy or whatever you want to do. But I believe the universe sometimes gives us things that we need to deal with. And I believe this is one of her things. She needed that humble pie. And instead of eating it, she sent it back to the kitchen, which is not what the universe wanted. So now she's getting ate up like a Chinese buffet.
But this wasn't just any theater. This was her own movie, her own Snow White promotional moment, and the seats nearly all empty.
Brutal.
She posted a quick Instagram story bouquet of flowers in hand, walking into the cinema like it was a red carpet premiere. But behind her, a couple scattered viewers, no buzz, no crowd, no excitement. It looked more like an awkward Tuesday matinee than a Disney blockbuster.
Cried the whole time. You're a literal magical princess. I love you so much, my angel. Just you and her, bro. That is yikes. Embarrassing.
What was supposed to be a cute viral flex became a meme within hours. People joked that she brought flowers to a funeral. Some called it the loneliest premiere in Disney history. And while it's easy to dunk on the moment, it really symbolized.
Bro, I'm gonna keep it a thou out. I even watched The Little Mermaid with Cass. I thought it was okay. Now I fell asleep through about half of it. But overall, it was pretty good.
Something deeper. The disconnect between the movie and the audience, between Rachel and the fans. And a big reason for that disconnect, her casting was controversial from the start. Snow White has always been described in the original tale as having skin as white as snow. So when Disney cast a Latina actress,
what are these fits? What, that looks like a mini hula hoop. Yeah, we're wearing basketball rims now. What are we doing?
For the role, the internet instantly exploded. Critics argue that if you're going to remake a classic, at least
that's what she looks like to me, bro.
Follow the core descriptions. Rachel responded with a TikTok pushing back on the hate and doubling down on the importance of modern representation.
Honestly, I'm embarrassed of this because I chose a filter that made me look pink as hell. But you thought you did something. You thought you did something by pointing out that I, like every other person on planet Earth, use filters on my photos. But you know what?
I don't use filters on my photos.
You really got embarrassed. Let me tell you why this is embarrassing. It's because in this photo, I'm still an olive-toned queen. You don't have to give me any more racial identity confusion than I already have. Let me tell you something. Soy una latina orgullosa y tengo muchos privilegios porque tengo piel clara. But I will never try to bait people by pretending that I look different than I do. Shouldn't even have to explain myself, but go pick on someone else who's actually doing harm by race fishing.
The problem wasn't just
Good Lord, dude, it's the victim Olympic. Everybody wants to be a professional victim, dude. It's crazy.
The casting, it was how it was handled. Rachel didn't just defend herself. She started attacking the original film, calling it weird, outdated, and hinting that the prince was essentially a red flag. That's where a lot of fans drew the line. If you're taking on an iconic role, at least respect the source, at least act like you love what came before you. But the backlash didn't stop there. It went political. Rachel Zegler was one of several Hollywood names to publicly support Palestine during the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict. She even signed a letter demanding a ceasefire. That alone wouldn't have sparked chaos.
She signed a letter, like somebody's going to read that and be like, oh my God, is that Rachel Zegler? We better get on this now. Honey, you have no power in that regard at all.
But her co-star Gal Gadot, she's famously pro-Israel. Suddenly, a fictional fairy tale movie became a political war zone. The tension hit critical mass when Lebanon officially banned the film, not because of Rachel, but because of Gal Gadot. According to distributors, Gadot has long been on a boycott list in Lebanon, meaning any movie she stars in gets blocked from release. And just when it felt like the backlash couldn't get any more stacked, an old clip of Rachel resurfaced. In it, she says, "Fuck Donald Trump" on social media.
Yikes.
The clip went viral again. She apologized, but the internet never forgets.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, you can have all your biases, you can have all your beliefs, but when you get on the internet and say F somebody, especially a political figure, it's just, you're going to make some people mad. A lot of people might agree with you. A lot of people may not agree with you. That's one thing I never did. Like Joe Biden, I mean, whatever. It's okay. But I'm not going to sit there and say F him. You know what I mean? Or Donald Trump. Like, am I a huge fan of the political system? Not really. It's bipartisan. It's forced to like make us pick between one or the other. It's like if it was truly a democracy, in my opinion, we'd have like 5 options, which that would never work. But it's always one or two. It's like it's either this or that. And what did South Park say? It's either a turd sandwich or a giant douche. So it's like, it's always one of two. It's like it's a coin flip most of the time. So, but for her to do that, it's like, you got to realize what lane you're in, dude. You're in Hollywood. You need to keep your mouth shut. You need to agree with the elites and whatever they say, cool. But we're seeing a big trend right now where if you go woke, you go absolutely broke, dude.
Thursday night, the 23-year-old actress posted a new message. Hi everyone, I would like to sincerely apologize for the election post I shared on my Instagram last week. I let my emotions get the best of me. Hatred and anger have caused...
That's what I'm saying. She's sitting here talking about all this hatred and stuff like that, and then you're saying stuff, you're being mean as well. Like, the hypocrisy is crazy, bro. And that's why, like, on this channel, I be clowning people. I clown men, I clown women. There's just a lot, it's a lot easier. Like, I was talking to, I can't remember who I was talking to, but somebody's like, maybe it's somebody in Discord. They're like, a lot of your content's around women. I'm like, yeah, because dudes don't post stuff like that. Like, simps aren't typically online posting all the time. Women are the ones putting a camera on themselves when they're crying. There's just more of that content to react to. Chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Women post more of that content to react to than men do. Men typically don't post that kind of content. Crying on camera with the sad music. He left me and my life is over. I divorced my husband of 20 years and now I'm trying to start. Like, guys aren't posting that content. There's not a lot of it out there to react to. If you get on Google right now and type in woman crying on TikTok, hundreds of pages. You put man crying on TikTok, there's like a few pages. It's just, there's not as much content to react to. You know, so don't get mad at me just because there's more of that content. It's just, it is what it is. That's the lay of the land. Women post more of this content to react to than men do. It's just, it is what it is.
Rachel Zegler was trending more for drama than for acting. It didn't matter how good the visuals looked or how many times Disney tried to reframe the narrative. The damage was done. And the final blow, the box office numbers. Snow White had a budget between $270 million.
Bro, I can find 270 million things to do with $270 million.
It barely scraped $184 million globally.
I can't even believe it made that much money.
Disney insiders admitted it underperformed, but behind closed doors, producer Mark Platt's son, Jonah Platt, didn't hold back. He said what most executives were thinking. Rachel's public comments made things worse. Her interviews, her social media, her entire public persona, that's what tanked the vibe. That's what helped kill the movie. And now, the question isn't whether Snow White failed. That's already done.
Brian. Ida. 2 more, please. So I finally tell them, hey, I came here to be at the seminar, not run it.
The question is what
Oh
Disney's
my
going to
God.
do next, because animated shows are roasting them, fans are walking away, and their most expensive remake yet still hasn't even started production. At this point, even Disney's
But I think Disney needs to have a sit down and maybe get rid of some of the people that are ruining what Disney is. Let me know right now, chat. What was your favorite Disney movie growing up? For me, it was Aladdin. I absolutely loved Aladdin. That was my mom said I would sit in front of the TV and I would rewatch it over and over and over. Put that VHS in, play it, rewind it, play it, rewind it over and over. And I loved Aladdin. I thought it was a great story. Magic Carpet Ride, all the animated stuff. None of it was woke. Why can't we go back to that? It worked, didn't it? It made y'all bukus of bucks. That it helped make that $45 billion worth. That's what happens. And I watched the it's kind of a random segue, but I watched the documentary about Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon, on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, I used to be big into wrestling when I was a kid. Let me know if you guys were big into wrestling when you were kids. But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Attitude Era, my absolute favorite. The Rock, things like that. Undertaker, absolute favorite. I used to play the video games. I bought the Hollywood Hogan little like doll that you would beat up, bro. I was so into it as a kid. But that was the demographic they were targeting. But it showed that just because you're making more money doesn't mean you're going to keep producing, better content, because they were worth so much money, but it was tanking at certain times. They weren't able to push the narrative because they weren't changing. They weren't evolving. Sometimes you can change and evolve in a bad way, though, which is what Vince McMahon started to do. He started the XFL, which was like a football league that was trash. He started like a bodybuilding league that was horrible. Like, he tried a lot of things and failed, but the one thing Vince McMahon did is he learned from that and then adapted. Disney needs to do the same thing. They need to learn from these mistakes and adapt and go, you know what? We're going woke. We're going broke. It's not happening. It happened with Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney. They went broke and they're like, yeah, let's get rid of him and let's put the girls in booty shorts back on. Get the girls in booty shorts and that's our target demographic. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so wild to me. They can't realize this. You took an L, take that L and learn. Don't lose. You learn and you move on. You know what I'm talking about, Lokes? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. They haven't taken this as a lesson at all. They just think, well, people need to wake up. People need to wake up and realize that we know what we're doing. No, you don't. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this whole Rachel Zegler situation. Do you think somebody else is going to come out and clown her? I don't know. We're having a heyday here on this channel. Go watch the other ones. I've got a South Park episode, and I think there's one other one. I can't remember what it is. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It was good to have you guys out, man. Peace.